couple of minutes prior to coming into the studio tonight, I happened to be speaking with one of our radio staff members who was going through some tough times. The serious illness of a family member, the legal problems that accompanied that in this case, no sleep, trying to explain to others. Well, I came to the conclusion that we're all going through something that sort of hits us broadside sometimes, and we don't expect it, we don't know what to do with it. The father thinking about leaving his family, the mother who's thinking about leaving life altogether, testifies that broken people matter to God, and that God has pursued broken people in the past and continues to this very moment. Brokenness, sudden or gradual, can happen in an instant. 2 words would do it. You're fired. Or 4 words, I want a divorce. Or how about these 3 words, file for bankruptcy. Or it's cancer. He's not going to make it. And brokenness isn't always that easy to detect either. Medical experts tell us that a bone fracture may be the result of repeated, seemingly non-threatening abuse. We call these breaks stress fractures. Tonight's program is subtitled Jagged People. If that describes you in any way or someone you know, I especially invite you to stay tuned. And I trust and have prayed that the words spoken and read, the quotes, the music, will strike home to anyone who's experiencing heavy stress in his or her life. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. For our first musical selection, I'd like to choose an old hymn that probably those of you who are familiar with gospel music may not have heard for a long time. You don't hear this kind of music even on Christian stations much anymore. It's performed for us tonight by the Regeneration Singers, very ethereal entrance they have into the old song, Ivory Palaces. Isn't it great to hear beautiful music like that again? The Regeneration Singers, led by Derek Johnson, the old song Out of the Ivory Palaces. Tonight's program, Nightsounds, with the subtitle Jagged People. Mentioning a while ago that brokenness isn't always easy to detect. Stress fractures, a new term for these kinds of injuries. Stress fractures have their origin in misuse or overuse of the bone. And I understand simple, repeated activities can create microscopic cracks in the outer layers of the bone, most often in the legs and feet. As the repetition continues, those small cracks are not permitted to heal, and in time they usually enlarge and cause great pain. In fact, come to think of it, I heard of a person last week who fell, and it was an elderly lady who had a fracture of her pelvis, and it was called a stress fracture. It's easy to recognize the people who are broken by a sudden crisis. One pastor said, when we preach, they are aware of the brokenness and can apply our words of comfort or correction. Many times they're hungry for the preacher to address their specific need. They're broken and they know it. The pain is great, and they're looking for a word of hope. And this pastor went on to say, it's much harder to preach to those who are broken or near the breaking point due to a stress fracture. But the task is just as important. We must speak the words of grace and wholeness to those who are being bent over and over again by unhealthy relationships, unwise decisions, destructive habits. This pastor, Frank Lewis of Nashville, said, the overcommitted and overwhelmed are often broken, but they don't know it. They can keep going for a time, but not for long. Fatigue, grief, discouragement are going to claim them soon. Preaching to the broken people means preaching to those individuals too. Tonight's program is entitled Jagged People. Jesus came to touch people who are hurting inside. It may not be obvious to the onlooker, but you're dying within. Tonight's program, I trust and have prayed that God will use, because He's in the business of touching people and making them whole. Jesus didn't approach His work with a one-size-fits-all message. He spoke of living water to the woman at the well. He used bottom-line language to the financially minded tax collector. And He printed mystical images for the religious seekers who came to Him by night. Regardless of what's happened to you, there is a way through it. Broken people need to know that God is like the patient and loving Father in Jesus' parable about the two sons. Thank you for your openness. Many of you who write and tell us about the things that have happened in your life, some of the stressors, some of the tough things that you meet day by day. Often a person will tell us of a certain kind of victory and share with us because we've remembered one another in prayer. And that reminds me that Nightsounds does take time every Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock. I call in 1 or 2 men in the area who know the Lord and who know how to pray. And we do pray over every concern that comes through the mails, individually and personally, So if we can stand with you in prayer in any way, for any matter, please allow us this privilege. Tonight's program, Jagged People. Poetess Leona Choi wrote to these groups of folk among just about every kind of culture and nationality, personality portrait. She said at first in her writing, "Lord, broken things hurt. I have broken roots. Places of my early years have changed. They don't look the same, and I'm a stranger there. No one remembers my name, and I can't fit in anywhere. Friends of my youth are gone, displaced, or moved on. And ties of the past are broken by time, erased by circumstance. Lord, I have broken branches. Young ones are out the door to live no more under my care, no longer needing me, and starting another tree to grow their own branches, which seems to me even more flimsy and fragile than mine. Lord, I feel broken. There was a time when I was somebody, known in the gates, called upon, leaned upon. Now I feel fractured, shattered, useless. I don't seem to rhyme with anyone, and I'm out of rhythm with the times and the new world out there that doesn't care who I was or am. Lord, you too were broken. Your heart and body were broken for me, like bread that you multiplied when many were fed. You felt the same infirmity that touches me. Help me to learn your ways. Whatever you allow to be broken now makes room for the new to spring into view. You uproot the familiar to reveal broader horizons and shift a relationship to stretch my reach, change my role in life to prompt fresh bonding. Because you love me, you sever that which chains me to the common, the habitual and accustomed, and with the broken things you give my spirit wings. And tonight's program, speaking of jagged people. I'd like to call on Bobby Michaels now to speak through this song a word of comfort to those who are jagged.
When a father loves his son, there's no good thing he'll withhold, but freely give him all that he can give. And when I see all you've provided, it seems you never close the door. How I long to see the things you have in store. And when it couldn't get any better, you're better still. When joy is full to overflowing, you find a way to keep on filling. When I think I've seen it all, you show me so much more, till I can't wait to see the things you have in store. Every perfect gift must be bought for some great price. And to think you paid so dearly for my life. And when I feel the pain you suffer, the cruel cross that you bore, how I long to see the things you have in store. When I think I've seen it all, you show me so much more till I can't wait to see the things you have in store. I can't wait to see all the things you have in store.
Soloist Bobby Michaels, a song of comfort and encouragement, the things you have in store, song of prayer to God. On our program, Jagged People, speaking to broken ones. Just in case you've joined us in the past few moments, may I inform you that you are in tune with the program Nightsounds. I'm Bill Pearce. And we come by your place just about every night at this time on this radio station, just to let you know that we're here together, and I count you as a friend. Nightsounds has produced at least a dozen albums of vocal and instrumental music. These are available to you. One of them is an anthology, or a collection of trombone solos, 50 songs. They're commemorating a half-century of broadcasting. Perhaps you'd like a catalog that sort of gives an overview of everything here and the ministry outreaches. Once again, our mailing address is Nightsounds, Wheaton, Illinois, 60189. We were mentioning stress fractures a moment ago, how they're hairline fractures, not as obvious on the x-rays as a compound fracture. These particular types of injuries are healed by prescribing rest and by removing the weight that routinely impacts the bone. Once the fracture heals, the bone is stronger than before, but unless the lifestyle that caused it is corrected, it's probably going to break again. So tonight we speak to broken people with broken things in their lives. May not be a bone or a part of your physical being. It could be a relationship that is suddenly broken, a betrayal. We once equated evangelism with preaching for a one-time decision. This is no longer the case, another pastor said. Decision is not the destination. Decision is the beginning of the journey. In fact, one old preacher mentioned, Jesus doesn't ask us to decide for him. He asks us to yield to him. Then we'll begin to see things happen. For these closing few moments of our program tonight, I'd like to play a song of invitation to people who are hurting, the jagged people, the single mom struggling with a couple of children, the single adult struggling with sexual temptation, the senior adult, whose lifelong partner no longer knows him or her due to Alzheimer's. The student feeling pressure to fit in and wonders if God even exists. The childless couple who recently experienced a miscarriage but told no one. Or the businesswoman tempted to adjust sales figures for larger commissions. These are all stress areas. In tonight's program, we want to remember before God this kind of situation and present you to Him. Any of us, let's pray together. Heavenly Father, You know our hearts. You know our needs. Help us to trust in You at this time. If anyone is under stress, the jagged edges are hurting so badly, please touch him or her now. May they reach out and know the peace that passes understanding and grow day by day in Your strength. Thank You so much for what You've given and for Your love to us. Lisa Bevel to close our program musically tonight.
Do you hear my voice calling? I'm whispering to your weary soul. Won't you please hear me? I've been waiting for you, my child. I've been standing right here, waiting for the day that I could sing over you and take you in my arms. Come back to me. Do you know how much I love you? Do you know the tears I have cried? Tears of blood for you. Well, I know how you're feeling inside. I see you right now where you are, but I'm not far, so won't you come back to me and rest here in my arms. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back so I can sing over you. Come back, run fast. Come back to me so I can sing over you and take you in my arms. Come back to me.
I'll take you in my arms, come back to me. The song of invitation from Lisa Bevel tonight. Beautiful words to that particular song. Do you hear my voice calling? I'm whispering to your weary soul. Won't you please hear me? I've been standing right here waiting to put those jagged, broken pieces of your life together again. Some of the most beautiful pottery are those which have been broken. The most expensive vessels from a collection of early American pieces that had been repaired by the original owners long ago. This is what Christ does with broken people. He puts the pieces together again to make a beautiful image to his love and mercy. I just want to take these moments to thank you sincerely for joining me tonight. Those of you who are going through rough times, God is there. He hears and he answers. Call upon him. And if you've never given him your life, would you do it now? In your own way, reaching out to him, asking him to enter, to put the pieces together again, to make you whole, to help you grow. He'll do it. Until we meet again, I just want to thank you for your response to and for praying for us. Let's remember to just hold each other up before the throne of grace so that God may touch us and help us to help others. Our mailing address, Nightsounds, Wheaton, Illinois, 60189. Till we meet again, then, a pleasant good night to all of you.
Have you ever wondered who makes a program like Nightsounds possible each weeknight? You do. It's your letters of encouragement or support that keep the wheels turning. It's that kind of two-way communication that brings delight to Bill and the staff of Nightsounds. It all happens because you care. If you see the value in sharing in this ministry, we'd love to hear from you. The mailing address is Nightsounds, Box 29, Wheaton, Illinois, 60189.